The Season 2 finale of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure left us with our mouths wide open. We can't get over Eugene's past. It's totally shocking. We've delved into Eugene's backstory and come up with some very startling revelations. Watch until the very end to find out which group of people helped Disney animators come up with Eugene's classic look.
Don't want you scaring and giving up on this whole endeavor now, do we?
Well, I do like ducklings.
Yay!
Who is Eugene? Eugene Fitzherbert is Rapunzel's love interest from the Tangled franchise, and let's be honest, he's pretty perfect. When we first meet Eugene, he goes by the name Flynn Rider. He's a thief, and he's pretty good at it. One day, while running away from the guards of Corona, he ends up in Rapunzel's tower. He agrees to help her escape to see the floating lanterns. Really, he just wants to steal the crown of the lost princess. But along the way, the two totally fall in love. The movie tells us a little more about his past, like his real name. We'll get into all those gritty details soon. He saves Rapunzel and she saves him. They get married in a short film called Tangled Ever After. But then Disney released a TV show starring Rapunzel and Eugene. Rapunzel spent her entire life locked up in a tower, so despite loving Eugene with all of her heart, she just doesn't want to rush into marriage. She wants to experience life and freedom first, and Eugene totally understands. They go on to learn about the dark rocks that threaten Corona, and Eugene continuously proves himself to be super brave and dedicated to Rapunzel. He might be one of the greatest Disney love interests of all time. Eugene's childhood. Eugene spent most of his childhood in an orphanage. He doesn't remember his parents or his life before he was an orphan. His earliest memories happen at the orphanage, which is really sad.
I used to imagine they were swashbuckling explorers searching the world for treasure, and once they found it, they'd come back and get me.
That doesn't seem like a good reason to abandon your kid in an orphanage. But as long as it reassured Eugene, then it's a pretty great story. Every night, Eugene would read stories about a fictional hero named Flynn Rider. It was his way for him to escape his sad reality. Flynn Rider was his hero. He wanted to be just like him. Eventually, he and Arnwaldo decided to leave their life as orphans behind. Arnwaldo changed his name to Lance Strongbow. Eugene changed his name to Flynn Rider. The two set out on adventures and became really successful thieves. Life as a thief. Eugene, who now was known to the world as Flynn, proved himself to be a natural crook. He became an amazing fighter and a super skilled swordsman. And let's just say he's not too shabby when it comes to riding horses. Well, until he meets Maximus, that is. Flynn and Lance become the most feared thieves in Corona. Their names are well known, but thieves don't make friends very easily.
I don't need a thief. I need a friend. Come on, Flynn!
At one point, they steal a ring from Queen Ariana. It's never a good idea to end up on the Queen's bad side. They also get double-crossed by the Baron. Despite his name, the Baron isn't a real royal. He's a criminal kingpin, and he's not the guy to have as your enemy. Eugene dates the Baron's daughter, a woman named Stalin, but he ends up leaving her at the altar. This really angers the Baron. He betrays Flynn and Lance during a heist involving two nobles. Corona isn't the only kingdom that's keeping an eye out for the wanted criminal Flynn Rider. He travels the world because he loves nothing more than a good adventure. He travels all the way to Italy and gets into mischief there. He learns to speak Italian. Flynn is actually a really smart guy. He just doesn't always do the right thing. Eventually, he and Lance get separated. Lance ends up going to prison. They don't see each other for 8 years. By the time they meet again, Eugene has turned into one of the good guys. After losing touch with Lance, Flynn stays pretty isolated. He teams up with other criminals when he has to for a job. However, he mostly prefers to work independently. He wants nothing more than to enjoy his wealth and alone time. Meeting Rapunzel. Flynn's whole life gets turned upside down when he meets Rapunzel. Flynn was in the middle of a job with the Stabbington brothers. Stabbington? That does not sound like the type of people you want to cross. They were trying to steal the crown of the lost princess from the castle at Corona. Flynn and his sarcastic jokes get them into some trouble. They're chased into the forest by guards. The Stabbington brothers are arrested. Flynn evades capture, but he's pursued by the captain of the guard and his horse Maximus. Flynn knocks out the captain and tries to get away on Maximus, but Maximus takes his job very seriously. He's the only horse that Flynn can't really control. They fall over a cliff and Flynn escapes to a tower. Flynn breaks into the tower where he's knocked out by Rapunzel. When he comes to, he is tied up by her crazy long hair. She threatens to hit him with a frying pan again. He realizes that she's totally gorgeous. Flynn tries to use his charm to win her over. but it just doesn't work.
Take me to these lanterns and return me home safely. Then, and only then, will I return your satchel.
He's not happy about it, but he agrees. Flynn spends a while trying to get rid of Rapunzel. He deals with her emotional roller coaster of being free for the first time. He tries to scare her into going home by taking her to a pub full of criminals, but Rapunzel just befriends all of them. Eugene reveals that his only dream is to own an island someplace warm and sunny where he can enjoy his riches. But he starts to see something more in Rapunzel. When the guards show up along with the Stabbington brothers, Flynn and Rapunzel escape. Then they're in danger of drowning in a cave. He gets sentimental as he thinks they're about to die. He tells Rapunzel that his real name is Eugene Fitzherbert because someone deserves to know the truth. Rapunzel sings the incantation for her hair, and they're saved. He's freaked out at first by her magical hair, but at this point, he already has feelings for her. He tells her about his childhood in the orphanage. The two almost kiss on the boat with the floating lanterns in the background. Rapunzel gives him back the satchel, but he says he's found something more important, her. Rapunzel and Eugene's real adventure begins after they defeat Mother Gothel and return to Corona. Tangled Adventure. Eugene loves his new life in the castle with Rapunzel, but she isn't quite so sure about it. He pressures her into accepting a marriage proposal, but once he realizes that she needs more time, he apologizes for pressuring her. He and Cassandra, Rapunzel's handmaiden, don't really like each other, but since they both care for Rapunzel, they manage to get along well enough. Lance, Eugene's lifelong friend, returns. He wants his old thief friend to help with a heist, but Eugene gets him to reform. He becomes one of Rapunzel's most loyal friends. In Season 2, when Rapunzel goes to stop the Black Rocks, Eugene and Lance accompany her. They run into the Baron, Eugene's old enemy. The Baron's daughter still wants to marry Flynn, even though he left her at the altar. The Baron poisons Lance and says he'll only give the antidote after Eugene marries his daughter. He's torn. He loves Rapunzel, but wants to save Lance. So he agrees to marry her. But Rapunzel crashes the wedding and saves the day. He helps Rapunzel find the missing pieces of the Lord Demanitus' scroll to find the Moonstone. A shocking discovery. When Rapunzel, Eugene, and the gang make it to the Dark Kingdom, things go very wrong. Eugene has already received a warning that someone will betray Rapunzel. He thinks it's Cassandra, but Rapunzel doesn't. Eugene ends up separated from the others at the Dark Kingdom. He encounters a mysterious fighter disguised as a bear, and it happens to be King Edmund, the ruler of the Dark Kingdom. He reveals that he's Eugene's father. "We don't know about you, but we were totally shocked." He explains how the Black Rocks destroyed his entire kingdom, and he tells Eugene about his mother's passing. Edmund ordered the whole kingdom to evacuate. He sent Eugene away to go somewhere safe. A servant woman took him to the orphanage. He wanted to protect Eugene from the Moonstone Opal. He tells Eugene it's his duty to keep anyone from taking the opal. At first, Eugene fears that the opal will kill Rapunzel like it did his mother, but his faith in Rapunzel and the sun drop is too strong. He convinces his father that Rapunzel is the only one who can end the destruction. Unfortunately, Cassandra soon betrays them all and takes the Moonstone for herself. Happily ever after. We don't know what's going to happen in the third and final season of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, but we do know that Eugene and Rapunzel have a happily ever after. They eventually get married, and we know that Rapunzel's hair is back to being brunette. In Tangled Ever After, Eugene jokes,
"This is the story of the day my life ended."
Eugene.
I'm kidding!
but then he gets sentimental and says it was the best day of his life. Only two things go wrong. Eugene's nose is not drawn properly, which is a hilarious joke throughout the movie and series, and Pascal and Maximus lose the wedding rings. Should they really have trusted a lizard and a horse with rings? Probably not. The two animal companions embark on a super hilarious adventure to locate the missing rings. They do, and Eugene and Rapunzel get married. The short film ends with the wedding cake rolling away and Eugene joking about it. Typical Eugene. We're so glad these two get the happily ever after they deserve. Plus, Eugene is actually a royal in his own right. He was a lost prince, and Rapunzel was a lost princess. They're totally perfect for each other, and Eugene deserves life as a prince. From the Tangled movie, we know that Rapunzel eventually rules Corona, so he'll probably become king. We just can't wait to see how Season 3 plays out. The Hot Man Meeting. Plenty of fans agree that Eugene is one of the most attractive Disney love interests out of the bunch. But how did Disney animators make him so darn perfect? Well, they asked a bunch of women. The character designers had a focus group meeting. They got all the women from the studio into one room and asked them to describe the perfect man. They used photo and video footage, and the women said what they liked and what they didn't like. They even got tips on his personality. Then they combined all of this information and created Flynn Rider, aka Eugene Fitzherbert. It definitely worked. Eugene is one of the best characters. He and Rapunzel have a great relationship. He saves her sometimes, but she also saves him. He respects her and lets her live the life she wants to lead. It may take place a long time ago, but these two are a modern couple if we've ever seen one, and we think they're #relationship goals. We really love Eugene's character arc throughout the franchise. He starts as a thief who loves money more than anything, but Rapunzel shows him there is so much more to life. He turns into a real hero throughout the series, and we love that we know his real origin story now. It makes total sense that he's a prince. He's got the charm and the love of all things fancy. We can't wait to see how Eugene and Rapunzel defeat Cassandra in the new season. It's going to be epic. What do you think will happen in Season 3 of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure? Let us know your theories in the comment section below. And that's a wrap. Give this video a big thumbs up if you think Pascal and Maximus are the cutest BFFs ever. For more videos like this one, subscribe to The Things. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.